Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the second episode of our Seattle Seahawks franchise. Gonna get this started off today, offering a couple of contracts. One to Jacob Hollister, the next to Benson Mayowa. I want to keep these guys around. Hollister and Disley make a fun tight end combo. And I also want to welcome head coach Byron Leftwich into the organization. Leftwich was a big reason Tom Brady had an amazing season this year. His offense down in Tampa, and I thought that'd be a fun fit with Coach Pete Carroll retiring. So Byron Leftwich, the new head coach of the Seattle Seahawks here, the top free agent Jalen Ramsey, we're not going after him. A couple of the guys, Trent Williams, Kareem Hunt, Marcus Williams, Chris Carson up there, Antonio Brown, Gronkowski. We're not going after any of these guys. We don't need these people. We also can't be paying them the money that they are looking for. We have other holes to fix. This team still needs to be competitive. So, the first round of free agency needed a backup center, just a one-year cheap deal for Joe Looney. And then Matt Filer needed a better left guard. I put an offer out for him. Then I saw Emmanuel Mosley, offer him a cheap deal. He's young, and if he can play well enough, he'll have another contract coming up. And then I thought, I do need a little bit of edge rusher improvements, and Tack McKinley, offered him a cheap deal. Now we have not a lot of money. And here's the quarterback's number one option is Jameis Winston. It has to be. He's 27, still has a lot in the tank for a quarterback. And this is what I could offer. $42 million over 3 years. And I thought that was pretty good. I mean, he took a $1 million, it wasn't a lot, like a $1 million contract, I think, with the Saints. So, the second week of free agency, no offers were accepted. Emmanuel Mosley's still in the lead there, but the Bills are going after Matt Filer and just going to pull that money out. But here is where it hurt. The football team and the Colts are going after Winston aggressively. So I put as much as I could. $54 million over 3 years gets us into third. So I had to go adjust it, and that is it. 56.4, an 80-point contract does not get us anywhere near the bid from the football team. We're just not going to be able to make it happen. So Tyrod Taylor, we're going to have to give him a one-year deal. 32 years old. He's just good enough for now. Offered a 2-year contract to Cole McDonald. He's a fun, athletic quarterback. Then, since we had a little more money, I wanted to offer Tariq Cohen a little contract for 5 years. I mean, he's perfectly fine at $5 million a year. I'm more than okay with paying Tariq Cohen that. Then a little bit of extra money went into Riley Reif for 1 season at left tackle. He'll probably only play a season, maybe 2 if he doesn't go down too far. But it all depends on what we can get in the next draft anyway. Offensive line is not something we can really go after in this draft because we need to prioritize other positions of need. So in week 3 of free agency, we got some accepted contracts. See, we got Mosley, cornerback, Reif, Cohen accepted his, Cole McDonald, and Tyrod Taylor. All we're waiting on is Joe Looney, and he's going to accept that deal. It's whatever, but we're not going to be giving Rashad Penny a 5th-year option. Penny is not in the future plans. Players who did not get signed. I was surprised to see Brown not get an offer. But the players who were signed, the big deal. Jalen Ramsey is going to New York. Trent Williams to Buffalo. 2-year deal. Kareem Hunt, now the starter in Houston. Marcus Williams going to Carolina. That is a good contract for them. But the Steelers, $41 million to Chris Carson. Ouch. Could not be my team paying all that money to a running back, especially when running backs are the least important offensive position and can be replaced in the draft, which is what we're going to be doing with Rashad Penny this next year. We'll take someone at some point, probably in rounds 5 to 7. We have plenty of those picks to spare. The Steelers also signed Pat Peterson to a 1-year deal. You saw Bell go to the football team. Marlon Mack going with Jalen Ramsey up to New York. Jaylen Brown going to Indy. Signed a pretty cheap deal. Sheldon Rankins to New England. Mike Hilton going to play with Bradbury over in the other New York team. Gus Edwards signing a big deal down in Arizona. He is now their number 1 running back, as Kenyon Drake signed with the 49ers. But the Chiefs getting Villanueva, fixing a huge issue on their team, and Tack signed a huge deal that we could not compete with. But let's just go take a look at the quarterbacks. We really just want to know, Jameis, $61 million. Could not come anywhere close to that. But here we go. The first official pick in this franchise. The Cardinals are on the clock. And we are going to worry more about the draft in this, upcoming year, as Trevor Staley, the first player picked, Evan Thomas to the Broncos. But as I was saying, we're going to worry about this next class a lot more than we're worrying about this one. With how the franchise started, it's just going to be better overall to not care that much about these picks now. But I'm going to be keeping a detailed spreadsheet starting, in the 2022 draft and beyond, and where players went, who drafted who, all that fun stuff. And I was actually surprised that Philadelphia took a strong safety, but I forgot that the number 1 wide receivers on the board weren't that good. Continuing on with the draft, the Colts bolstering that defensive line. That's a good pick for them. Lions getting a middle linebacker. Position of need for them. And it's going to be fun seeing how these updated... I know the trade system has been, quote-unquote, improved. I don't know. With Madden, it's kind of always been pretty easy to trade. So, speaking of trades, while I'm at it, I'm only ever going to have one draft day trade to move up. And if I'm going to move down, if I'm going to move up, it's one trade only. It doesn't matter if it's in the 1st or the 6th round. If I want to move up in the 6th round from the 7th, I can only do that one time. If I want to move up from the 3rd to the 1st, I can do that too. But, I'm only ever going to do one. And in regular season trades, I am only ever going to do 2 trades. And I also want to make it so I don't just cut people or get rid of them at the 30-year mark. If they're playing good, they're playing good. And that's something I want to focus on, because in basically the past 4 or 5 years at this point, once they turn 30, Madden players, unless they are highly, highly rated, are basically worthless. So I want to do my best on not getting rid of players who turn 30 and they stay on the team for maybe another 2-3 years. If they go down too much, then we'll get rid of them. But if they're still producing, I'll keep paying them. That's just something I want to focus on and make it harder to succeed, essentially. And I think it's just better overall for the series. Closing out of the first round, 8 picks left as the Packers take the hometown player, Jonathan Pearson. And now here is interesting. San Francisco absolutely whiffing on a pick. The Bears getting another really good defensive lineman. The Chiefs, they take a free safety. This draft wasn't fantastic in the first round. There's a couple later round picks that were interesting, and you'll see those eventually. The Jets, with our pick, they take a defensive tackle, I believe. Let's see. Yes, it is a defensive tackle, Cedric Redmond, Colorado State. Last pick of the first round, Joseph McClain to the Jags. Now, there is a player here, Kelvin Ogletree. That was a guy that I was really looking at getting. Hopefully he fell, but the Cardinals, first pick of the second round, took him. Now, our first pick, round 2, pick 31. There's a couple of interesting people here, but Chris Ortiz, early first round talent. We need an edge rusher. Projected mid-third rounder, and we had to take him. It was stupid to not take him. Chris Ortiz, 22-year-old power rusher from Texas A&M. Good size. Good power moves. Needs to work on his finesse moves, but really happy to have him on the team. He's not a amazing player in terms of development, but normal, can be improved to star very easily. Does need to work on stamina, as this was going to be my next pick. Steven Pierman was the best quarterback in this draft. After Pierman went, I was like, okay, then my next pick is going to be left guard Bryant, and the Steelers took him. And then it fell to my next pick. I was like, okay, it's going to be Will McMullen, the other edge rusher that I have my eyes on. And he goes to the Vikings. Okay. Unfortunate. Our second pick, round 4. And not a lot going on here. There were a couple of edge rushers. I was like, maybe Trey Skinner. Pair him up with Ortiz. He'd be a situational pass rush player, but I thought it would be best to address our linebacking core with this pick, and Shaden Boston was the most interesting player to me for this situation. 22-year-old run stopper from Stanford, 68 overall, normal. We'll take that all day, especially this late into the draft. He's not a bad player. He's an okay tackler. The speed is fine. The acceleration's very good, though. So he's going to get some formation subs. He'll be in on a good amount of packages eventually. Our third pick, round 5. And the draft board has dwindled down. The best available player is probably one of these third-round corners, and Jaquan Harris was pretty fast. 21 years old from LSU. So I figured, hey, he's probably pretty okay, and that's exactly what he is. 68 overall. Pretty fast. Man coverage is not great. Zone coverage is very not good. But he is a very good return piece, so that's nice to have. good agility on him and good speed. In the 6th round, Jimmy Barron. We needed a fullback. Ours retired. And he'll fit right in. I do like using fullbacks in offenses. 79 lead block is pretty good. You don't really need to worry about the other blocking skills. He's going to be a receiving guy for me. Receiving and short down run situations. Our first pick in the 7th round, pick number 8. Take a reach on Joe Pierce here. We didn't have anything scouted on him, but 66 overall, elusive, and 65 receiving back. He can easily find his way into the lineup at times. And since Rashad Penny's not going to be in the future for this team, it's nice to get a young guy in and start developing him, as he's going to be on the team for the next 4 years. And then, pick 31. We took quarterback Glenn Mitchell, 59 overall. He's tied with Cole McDonald. We're going to see who gets the number 2 spot in the preseason. I liked Mitchell. He was decently athletic, so him and Cole McDonald are going to have a fun battle in the preseason. And Mr. Irrelevant, the best pick in the draft, Shamir Davis, the fullback. So that's the draft class. With the limited capital we had, I thought it was okay. I thought it was probably the best we could have done. But that's it. That's all that this episode is going to have. We're going to be doing a fun preseason compilation. I'm not going to be uploading, one game at a time for that. It's going to be a 4-game compilation of all the plays that I think are worth watching. So that'll be coming out soon. Anyways, that is all the time that I have for this video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you could please leave a like on this video and help other people see this and share this around with other people who enjoy sports content like this. You could also subscribe if this is your first time watching one of my videos. I'd really appreciate that. I make 2K content, NCAA 14, and Madden now. And also, please leave me some comments on what you'd like to see, and if you want to know any of my other rules, they'll come up eventually over time, and you'll get to know them. Anyways, that's all the time that I've got. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.